Next, I'd like to welcome Nick Adams. Nick is from our technology partner P2P out of Florida, or I guess US, I should say. And Nick's been working with a couple of PortaOne customers as a consultant, you could say, for at least 4 of them that I remember.
Yeah, for about 15 years now over the years.
So he's very experienced in our platform. He knows our platform, our company quite well. Also, your dad actually used to work for us, Ken, for some time, and we've recently started quite a direct engagement with P2P, not only in North America, but it may potentially also swap over into international markets. So I'm very excited to have you here in the session, and Nick's going to talk about customer experience and what Helios can do for you.
Thank you. Like you said, my name's Nick Adams. I am the Director of Product at P2P Labs, and happy to show you about our new product that we just launched, Helios. We launched in April. Like I said, I have actually been in the PortaOne stratosphere as a customer for about 15 years. I think I started on MR30 or 35. It's a long time ago. So it's really exciting to be here as a partner today. All right, so first thing, the word engagement. You know, when we think about how we engage with our customers, a lot of us, we think communication, but we don't really have a differentiation for the word engagement versus communication, right? We communicate with our customers, whether it's via ticket, whether it's via email, WhatsApp, or we have all these different ways that we communicate. But when we think about the word engagement, you know, to me, the word engagement means more than communication. It means really having the accessibility of coming down to your customer's level and, you know, greeting them eye to eye and saying, you know, how can I help you, right? We're truly engaging with them on a sort of personal basis. So one of the big problems with these sorts of solutions, CCaaS solutions in general, is that they're almost always priced out of the SME market, right? And, you know, a little research, South African National Development Plan expects 90% of the 11 million new jobs to be from SMEs. So there's a big market, right? And so when we talk about CCaaS or engagement as a service, you know, most of the things that we talk about is kind of going to be multi-channel versus omni-channel. So most of us, all of us probably are multi-channel. You know, we communicate via email or WhatsApp or, you know, our ticketing system or that, but it's all in segregated silos. So what we do is we bring that all into one spot where you can access everything from the one point of view. You stay on one screen. You don't have to go very far. And why does that matter? It's estimated that it takes about 2 seconds to switch between apps and tabs, right? And people do this about 1,200 times a day. So when you crunch the numbers, this slide did not format very well. So this actually comes out to a real fiscal value, right? That 2 seconds, 1,200 times a day. When we think about just the way that we're communicating with customers, it can be about 10 minutes a day. Over the year, if you're looking at, you know, this is in US, obviously, $60K a year, you're saving about $1,200 a year just by saving those 10 minutes a day, by having everything centralized in one screen. So it's a real cost. And so Mike Tesler, who was one of the founders of BroadSoft, you know, he agrees with this sentiment, right? He said, you know, all of these excellent CCaaS products, customer experience products, are geared for these large enterprise. And so right off the bat, you're already that huge SME market. You can't get in there because they're not going to pay, like we talked about earlier. You know, they're not going to foot that bill. Oh, excellent. So, all that said, I'm a tech guy, right? So I like to talk tech more than I like to talk sales. So I'm going to take you through a couple screens so you can kind of get an idea of the UI, what it is, what it is that we do, and how it looks, and how it works with the customers. So a couple features. You know, one of the cool things that we do is we do have a sort of automated workflow built into the platform, right? And so these workflows, they work with SMS, they work with WhatsApp. They work with the built-in chat interface, right? And so the chat interface actually is cool. you can design it and build it and pick which channels you want inside the interface. So if you want to have, say, one chat widget on your website for your sales team, one chat widget for your support team, you can do that. You can have those separate widgets. And it generates the code right inside here. You copy it, you paste it, done. So with these workflows, it's very aesthetic. It's very visually driven. You can see it very clearly. One of the very cool features in here, though, is that we have access to external APIs. So you can leverage, whether it's via, again, SMS, WhatsApp, chat, or whatever, you can actually leverage those external APIs. So if you have a customer that comes in and says, hey, I want to add a new extension to my PBX, right? If it's hosted, for example. Well, then you could check, give me your phone number. We look up the account, hit your Porta billing, and then maybe you have some sort of authentication mechanism. You can hit an API, say, hey, are you authenticated? You get through there, then you can go through all those motions and add that PBX user at the end of the day. All automatic, just with these workflows. So you can do some really complex creative things in here. And for your SMEs that actually, they're small enough that they don't even have a CRM, because again, they don't want to foot the bill for that kind of thing. We actually have the CRM built into this product. And so you're going to get the entire customer story. You're going to see everything that's happened with them. You're going to see, segments. You can see customer notes. You can attach documents here, so you can get all those contracts built in here. And the other cool thing about all of this conversation and history, when the agent looks at this from a communication standpoint, so if they're inside of a chat or inside of an email, they can see all of this history right there without having to go to, another contacts page. And then since AI is the conversation of the day, we do have some really impressive artificial intelligence features built in. So there's a couple different things that we do. One of them is we call it AI Copilot. Essentially, it takes a whole bunch of different prompts, right? And helps your agents communicate with the customer. And this is built upon your own data set. We're going to see that in a slide here. But the other good thing about this is you can actually build your own prompt. So if you're a nerd and you're into prompt engineering, you can completely customize what these options are. So you can say, hey, for my agent, I want to have an option that says, hey, make me sound more technical, right? You could build a prompt that says, you're a technical expert, help this sound more smart. Something simple like that, right? So talking about data set resources, because you can't just have a random chat GPT, communicate with the customer, because they're not going to know what to talk about, what to say, right? So we have this built in. There's a handful of different ways that we can work with it, right? There is a knowledge base built in the software, so you can train the AI based on that knowledge base. You can also train them on external content. So if you have a Confluence or wherever that's public facing, it'll go through, it'll crawl all of that, and it'll process all of that, and that's available then. And it also trains on itself, and you can kind of choose which conversations do you want to train it on. If you have some good conversations, you can process that into its database. It's pretty interesting. And we also do fully autonomous AI agents. And so with these data sets, you can have multiple different data set resources and have those agents trained specifically on those separate data points. So you could have, one for your sales team, one for your support team, and have these different bots just completely autonomous of each other, doing those separate functions. I think this is the last slide here. Let's see. So, integration wise, we're open with it. We have natively a handful of things. And for those of you that are still installing PBXs, we also support, Mitel and Vicom if you're still installing those. And then we're already integrated with the PortaOne. So you have your PortaPhone right in the interface. So again, your users don't have to go anywhere else. You can do everything from that one single pane. We also have, a pretty robust API interface and then webhooks. So if you want to, hook out to your CRM separately, if you have something that's not already integrated, and say, hey, when this event happens, hook over here, right? You can do that. Yeah, excellent. So very quick, very short. This pitch usually takes an hour, so I skipped a lot of it. But I appreciate you guys listening. Anyone have any questions? I think we got a couple minutes. If not, we can get together at a coffee or lunch. All right.
So I've got a question. So is the interface just text at this point, or does it actually have speech recognition and speak back to callers?
So today we're not processing voice in the platform, right? So we're kind of voice agnostic. It gives you the ability to kind of plug into that, put your porta switch in. So we're not doing voice analysis and that communication yet, but it is on the roadmap.
In terms of sort of your architecture, does it have local nodes and then your interface actually sits in the cloud, or how do you manage it? Where does your processing sit? But obviously, if I'm sitting in South Africa and we have an issue, I don't want my processing to sit in America.
So there are we actually support two different models of this, right? You can install it on your own equipment. And how it's architected is that there's kind of a front end and a back end server, right? So all your database lives by itself. It's not accessible except for via the front end server, right? So you can install it, or we'll host it for you. So there's the options.
And the analytics on your the integration that you have with, let's say, Porta, and you have the PortaOne in there. Does the PortaOne just enable the actual voice, and your chat function, everything still sits in HELIOS itself?
Yes.
And then you have, so one of the big things I usually find is, or what I always like to see is get a lot of support calls that are repetitive. So to get that thing to learn what is your most profound stuff coming through, the most common stuff, and so you can start building your tool to interact with that first, instead of having the agent ask the same 10 questions every single time. Pick up, okay, well, will you go through the same process more or less every single time? Well, how can I take that down from, let's say, a 7 or a 10-step process to a 3? Because I already analyzed that I sort of go through the same 10 steps every time. Mm-hmm. Is the AI there or not really?
I think to a degree you could. We have to kind of talk that out, I think, hash it out more. But because you can kind of do some customized prompt engineering and train itself on previous conversations, I think you could get pretty creative with that.
Are you running your own AI inference or using OpenAI through API?
We use OpenAI's APIs. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. It's also a prime example of sort of the approach that we like taking over the last few years, where, of course, this is things with, especially looking at the Cloud PBX portal or the Cloud Contact Center portal how we call it. Of course, it's something that potentially PortaOne could do, but why do it on our end if we can maybe engage with partners like Nick and P2P instead, who have already this? And so we have no intention of building our own omnichannel, because it would just take us away from, you all know resources are always limited and there's only so many things that we can do. So we'd much rather focus on our core business and our core things that we know we do well, and then engage with some strategic partners to hopefully fill in the blanks, to give you guys some solutions that work really well with our platform. So that's sort of been the approach with Add-on Mart, and I appreciate Nick coming out here and hopefully having a few chats with you guys if you're interested.